And rather than doing it first thing in the morning, we're going to do it at 8:10, and they have a window of time before second period, and we'll watch this morning news show, and everything will be great. And I say that because it is a calculated risk. I mean, not all of these things. So basically, you have this group of these two teachers. You have a mixed class of middle and high school, which is a first as well, which I thought was pretty neat. And to get that, the pipeline going, so to speak. Feeder program as well as the program that works. Get them all to work with synergy and create a new show every day, basically, under the gun, so to speak. They have to get it done. And I'll tell you that I met with Mr. Beechers and Mr. Manchester and Mr. Urban and said, how are we going to do this? And I believe the quote that Mr. Urban said was rip off the Band-Aid. So the first week of school, our goals were to wean into this. And I had a vision of, okay, we'll be doing a news show by February. We might have to come on and go back to the morning announcements every now and then. And ripping off the Band-Aid, in the second week of school, we had a news broadcast that was operable. I wrote on here as one of my notes, we had to troubleshoot that. This team did a great job. There were some perceptions out there. Peru doesn't do the pledge anymore. No, actually, there's a beautiful picture of the American flag in the front of the school, and the pledge was on the actual broadcast. But perceptions are realities. So we adjusted to, we still do the pledge in the morning, and that's kind of sets the kids down. They do the pledge via the loudspeaker, and then we have first period, and we roll the Nighthawk News. So kind of meeting in two places. And then what this has done for us, before I turn over to Mr. Manchester here, what this really has done for us is created a future as well as a foundation way earlier than I expected. I don't think that Mr. Urban or Mr. Beechers or any of the Nighthawk newscast, this is I wouldn't call it a cakewalk, but they're good at it. They're very good at it. They make it look easy. So the future is bright, such as web video production 2, where we might see, you see Mr. Urban standing by that camera right now. We might see our Nighthawk News team being on these events, on sport events, on the drama club productions, the music events, streaming these things and getting to that next level. And then also another avenue, we have some students really interested in the journalism piece to all this. So what this has done in this small little move, it's created a conduit of communication for our middle high school. It's brought middle high school together, and it's created these springboards. And I think every time I talk at these meetings, I say pathways, and here we go with more. So that to me is terrific, and it's a huge win. The future's bright. We've gotten great feedback. We got some pushback as people of the tech piece, but we got it to a point with a little instructional video, 2 clicks. You can get there in 2 clicks. And we know if you go more than 2 clicks, you lost somebody. So we're there, it's rolling, and with that I'll turn it over to Mr. Manchester.
Mr. Barrett?
Yes?
Real quick, I think this is fantastic. How many students are in the production class?
14 middle high mix, and I believe it's an equal mix.
7 and 7.
7 and 7.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Kudos to all of you. Thank you.
So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what you're going to find in a typical broadcast. It's actually very similar announcement-wise, but just you get the face, you get to see what they're actually reading and talking about. So on a typical day, you're going to still hear club announcements, class meetings that are going on, the lunch menu. There's athletic updates where students are actually talking about upcoming sporting events as well as yesterday's scores. And then one of the things that they've just added, which I think is neat, a little rival to our own Tom Messner, is they've got a weekly weather report, complete with the graphics.
Yeah.
So it's really neat what they've done. And then just, I think to kind of piggyback on what Mr. Berry was saying, when you talk about pathways and some of the things that they're learning, there's so much of the ELA standards that you're going to see that they're doing every single day when you talk about the production, providing them the opportunities to demonstrate skills in not only public speaking and being in front of a camera, but also, by producing this, they're writing and they're communicating with each other and they're using, the informational text to broadcast. So with that snapshot, what it looks like, I'm going to turn over to Mr. Beechers, Mr. Urban, and our student.
So we actually have an example of a newscast.
Yeah, so I guess we can just go for this and play a newscast right here for you. So
or is that in the next slide?
Next slide, yep.
So, is this our very first newscast?
No,
Oh.
this is last Wednesday with the weather.
Okay.
Good morning, Peru. Today is Wednesday, October 13th, day 2. Today's lunch will be cheese or pepperoni pizza, steamed broccoli, assorted fruit, and some milk. Varsity Club will be selling Nighthawk apparel this week, 10th period near the lodge for your Spirit Week needs. Students needing their Chromebook charged can do so in the zone inside the library during any free periods. Loaners will no longer be given during charging. Also, please remember to keep your Chromebook in its case, as any damage occurring outside the case is not covered by insurance. There will be a high school student council meeting today during 10th period in Mrs. Lozier's room on 41. All students in grades 9 through 12 are encouraged to attend. Attention, juniors and seniors who may be interested in attending Utica College. On Wednesday, October 13th at 8:15 a.m. in the College and Career Center, a Utica College representative will be visiting with interested Peru students. Utica's top-rated college majors include health professions, homeland security, firefighting, and protective services, to name a few. Utica has over 30 college majors to choose from. Please join us for an informative discussion. School Spirit Week continues tomorrow for all students and faculty in the middle school and high school. Thursday, October 14th is Patriotic Day. Please dress in red, white, and blue. Confederate flag in any form will not be allowed. And on Friday, October 15th, we have School Spirit Day. Please dress in white, in blue and white. Seniors will be celebrating Toga Day. Any high schooler who is staying for the parade on Friday, October 15th and needs bus transportation needs to sign up Thursday by noon via the QR code. Senior CV Tech students who are staying for the pep rally will report to the library on Friday. REACH will be meeting today during 10th period. If you have not reserved a bus, please notify Mr. Beechers. All are welcome. The High School Robotics Club will meet 10th period on Thursday in TL2 with Mr. Sorrell. Anyone interested in building robots, please attend. If anyone sees or has a missing set of AirPods, please alert the high school office. Attention sophomores, window painting is underway. Also, there will be a class meeting today at H219. Plan to attend to help with homecoming events. Fill out the bus request at the student links if you will need a ride home either day. The library will be closed 1st to 4th period today for NWA testing. Do you like to watch anime? Are you interested in reading manga? Do you like to learn about Japanese history? If this is you, then come join us for Anime Club. Our first meeting will be held during 10th period on Thursday, October 21st in room M26. Can't get there but still want to join? No problem. Email Miss DeLong at sdelong@peruscsd.org. You have a Google Classroom. See you, Space Cowboy. Attention, JV and varsity basketball and any new interested players. There will be an informational meeting this Friday, October 15th after school at 2:15 p.m. in the high school gym. If you are interested in playing, please attend. The grand reopening of Peru's Blue Teak will be this Friday, October 15th. Stop by during your lunch period and check it out. We are a fashion thrift store and we have something for everyone. Looking for an athletic shirt, a new sweater, or maybe just some jewelry or a new hat? And did I mention everything is free? If you're one of the first 50 people to stop by during the grand reopening Friday, you can pick up a free Frosty coupon too. Open periods 5 through 9 every day, starting this Friday. If you are in the freshman class and would like to help paint our windows for homecoming, Mrs. Hicks and Mrs. Dermody will be in the cafeteria 10th period today until 6 p.m. tonight. We need your help. The concession stand will be open tonight during the varsity soccer game. We will be selling snacks, coffee, hot chocolate, and Nighthawk apparel. And now, over to Maddie Miura with your weekly weather.
Today is partly cloudy and a high of 71 degrees. Thursday, we're going to get a little bit lower, partly cloudy and 67 degrees. Friday is sunny and 69 degrees. This weekend's supposed to be a little bit on the chilly end, but more like our fall weather, with partly cloudy and Saturday being 65 and Sunday being 64. Madison Miro, signing out.
And now for your sports scores. Last night, the boys modified soccer team won 1-0, and JV girls soccer also won 2-1. The JV volleyball team also scored a 2-1 victory over Beekmantown last night. And to start off for tonight's games, at 4 p.m. there's a modified football game against Ticonderoga at home. Also at 4, there's a JV boys soccer game against Beekmantown, once again at home. And the last sporting event for tonight is a varsity boys soccer game at 6:30 against Beekmantown. Good luck to all of our student athletes and have a great day, Peru Nighthawks.
So now you see camera. I brought Isaac here partially because he's really taken on a leadership role. He knows what it looks like behind the camera. So I hope maybe you would pop up here and kind of give a little description of what it looks like in the morning and how hectic it can feel.
Yeah. Sure. So each morning when we first get in, we assign everyone roles. We keep rotating the roles between everyone so everyone gets a chance to do everything. We typically have about, I think it's 4 roles we assign each morning.
We just added a new one.
And we just added a new one, which is our website manager. We have our anchor, who was Isaac Hathaway in this case, for our recording. We then have our teleprompter, we call them. They set up the Google Slides presentation we use to list all the announcements for them to read. They also help revise all of them, as do most of the other people in the class during the morning. We have our OBS director. They control OBS, which is how we record all of our clips and stream them up on YouTube. They go through all the scene transitions, listen, check audios as we go through, stop, start recording, set up the stream. We also have our sound assistant, we call them, one of the smaller jobs, but still very important. They go through and check, make sure all the doors are closed, no one's trying to get in while we record the announcements, that way we don't get any of the background noise or anything like that.
Yeah, you should see the room when it's time to start rolling. It's a room of 14 kids, and everybody has to be silent for at least 5 minutes. So, and it's a mix of middle school and high school kids, so you can imagine that in itself is a logistical issue.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we started off doing right from the beginning is it was kind of like a shadow program. So Isaac is one of our students who started off with a little bit of experience in OBS. I kind of showed him the setup that I had made. He did some changes to it, and so it's students training students in this situation, which I think is fantastic. We've been pretty much 100% student-led with the decisions moving forward what we want to add. Of course, they go through me and Mr. Urban, but I think that's a really cool opportunity for learning, and it's really, I think, given me some really cool takeaways. It's been fantastic. How we want to move forward, we want to add scrolling headlines. We talked about putting birthdays and doing a ticker along the bottom. Highlights of sporting school events. So actually the clip from the news that you saw today, that was entirely directed, set up by Grayson Pandel and Manny Guerrero. That was their idea to do the weather. They kind of took over that and pre-recorded that and ran that as a separate video clip. So moving forward, we want to throw in more of those kind of 15-second video clips of things going on around the school, which would then allow us to do things like feature packages on school and community events. Talking to Mr. Barry, there was a recent donation to the school that we want to do a little bit of a package on for the announcements. And we want to move on to kind of using our students as a resource. Those kids who are used to using OBS, are familiar, sending them out as essentially kind of people in the field to do kind of field experiences. So the ideas are the limit, and right now, me and Chris are just trying to keep up with the kids. Quite frankly, because they're going wild. So this is what our spaces looked like before. This is what they look like now. You can kind of see in the 2 lower pictures on the left side. The picture above is a larger vision. We're still kind of limited right now with some of our infrastructure in the room, specifically power and internet drops are kind of changing. Well, we're still kind of stuck in the same position at the desk, so we're planning on getting those moved, I think, somewhere mid-year, so we can kind of adjust and have more permanent broadcasting stations. So definitely making some progress, but still progress to be made, which is why I hope that I'd like to come in here maybe at the end of the year and show you where we've taken it to, because frankly, when Matt came to me, he's like, okay, we got to go show this to the Board of Education. I'm like, really already? We're started. It's wild. So that's what we have. This is a walkthrough of what the space will look like once we have this completed. This was put together by Dean Delano, who is actually our esports coordinator right now, because it is a shared space. So we have a lot of different minds and efforts going on to kind of evolve this space and make it suit our needs.
So the hope is to make the space a little more collaborative. Right now it's very much sort of a lecture-based setup. All the computers face the same way, which worked really well as drafting stations 5 years ago, but isn't exactly the vision that we're going forward with the esports arena and with this sort of a setup. So the hope is that it'll be able to be used as a larger studio space in addition to being able to host esports events.
I mean, I think that, I'm sure I can speak for Chris on this too, that this has been kind of a dream of mine to get something like this rolling. And it's fantastic to feel like we finally got to the point where we ripped off the Band-Aid. And that goes not just for us putting the announcements out there, but also for actually scheduling this thing and making it happen. So I have to thank all the administrators who, I mean, I remember we were in that room last year, looking at each other, how are we gonna make this work, and compromising to try and sort that out. So it couldn't have happened if we hadn't come together to kind of make some accommodations for each other. So it's been a great working relationship to get this rolling. Look forward to see where it goes. So thank you.
Thank you. Did you do this impromptu at first period?
Yep, so.
So just whatever comes to them right at 7:28 and
We
take
have
it
a
out by
Google-
8:10.
We have a Google form that the teachers send us announcements with, the kids have their ideas, and
Nice.
we actually have one student who kind of has their finger on the pulse of all the sports happenings, and so every single day we come and we're like, hey, Madeline, what were the scores from last night? And she goes and plugs them in. And it truly is fascinating to see, like, you know, maybe 5 to 10 kids all working on the same Google slide to try and get the teleprompter correctly. The only real work that me and Chris are doing right now is, well, running around trying to put out fires, but Chris is like kind of our main editor. I end up usually assigning the roles, but it's pretty much all student-led at this point. I think it's really cool to have the high school, middle school kind of interaction piece, because, you know, you don't get that vibe of these are high schools and they're schoolers and they're in charge and it's their way. It really isn't like that, and it also has opened up some really cool opportunities for some mentorship between middle school and high school students. So really cool.
If you're interested in checking it out, it does go live every morning at 8:10. That is a public broadcast. You can find that broadcast right off of the main website at perucsd.org/live. There's a link at the top of the page to the Nighthawk News cast. It is on demand almost immediately after the broadcast. So even if you don't catch it when it airs live, you can catch it later in the day.
Yeah, if you're feeling especially crazy, we've archived everything we've done so far, so you can watch the YouTube.
You know, once they finally get the senior centers opened up, we talk about how we're not reaching some of that population up there.
That's great.
Thank you, Dan.
And these kids could take some of their newscasts over and just show that, you know.
Absolutely.
the senior center, I don't think they're open enough to have, you know, where they used to have lunches and everything together. I think they just still take out. I can see this as like to a fire department meeting, showing them what, you know, what kids are doing. They keep saying we need more communication. This is the way of really looking at that. I know I've gone in a couple of times and looked at it and wow, this is amazing. I want him to come and read the board
I think
agenda.
Barry wants to be a guest caster, huh?
I didn't realize I was picking the longest broadcast. There's a lot going on in this building.
That's excellent. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay, motion to approve consent agenda A through I. Motion, Mr. Peters, second. Second. Ms. Morgan, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Motion carried, no dissensions. Consent agenda 14, A through L, and we're going to remove I and J, correct, Mr. Provost?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion? Motion. Motion, Mrs. Mitchell, second, Mr. Peters, all in favor? Motion carried. 15, we have some additions. In A, we need to add the name Janine Mason. And this is where we'll put, most of it came out of executive session to change the title of Mr. Thorne from acting to interim superintendent at the same, daily rate status, beginning 10/1/2021. And I think we had a number of additions on the, agenda, Mrs. Provost?
Yep, we added each and every else.
Okay. Do I have a motion? So moved. Motion, Mrs. Gray, second, Mr. Peters, all in favor? Motion carried. Okay. employee assistance program. We received some information on this. We had talked about it last spring with the budget, because we had the COVID money and so on. We felt it was very important to bring in the employee assistance program. At that time, we were looking at one that would be, if there came in presentations and people signed up, it might be a free program. But then Mr. McFountain, who was a board member at the time, brought us the information from the HSM, and they've now compiled information for us, and I hope hopefully people got a chance to take a look at that. But it's a very comprehensive employee assistance program, and we felt that there's very much a need to support our employees and give them pieces that, if there is a need, be it financial, some kind of support for various mental health, that, you know, anything health related and so on, that we brought something in. So everybody get a chance to kind of review quickly that. So do I have a motion to move forward with the HSM contract for the EAP? Yes.
No, motion.
Motion, Mr. Peters. Second, Mitchell. Any other discussion on it?
It's an excellent program.
Oh.
It really is.
Seems
Very
great.
comprehensive, too.
Very comprehensive, and we just felt that at this time, we always talk about student need, but we also talk about employees' preference. With that, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. And then we have an agreement now between the sheriff's department, I think that they updated that. Do I have a motion to approve the revised successor agreement for the SRO? Motion, Mrs. Graves. Second, Mrs. Mitchell. Any discussion?
Just to clarify, that's the lock-in price, right? It's like locked in for a few years or something, and then.
Yes.
It's like 3 years.
I think that's the length of the contract, yes.
The main change right now is instead of 12 monthly payments to get it into 10,
Yes.
it's a better fit to September through June time period. And then we actually went down $5,000.
Yes, I saw that.
So that was better.
Okay, we have a motion, we have, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. New business, the turkey trot. And, we know that, you know, the Lions Club does so many things for us that we certainly, every year we say yes to this. It's just one of those great community events that are happening. Mr. Peters, they don't need anything, you don't have Mr. Isley or Mr. Perry here tonight. They don't need any school cafeteria, just the parking lots, right?
Internet and.
Electricity.
Yeah, it was to have at least a little assistance from the bus garage to use some of the open bays if we needed to, any weather.
Yeah, okay.
Or registration.
But not the cafeteria.
Not the
We used to do
cafeteria.
the cafeteria.
Yeah, we're gonna, of course, leave it all outside, you know, for all the right reasons right now.
Okay, so we,
So I think we should move forward with this in case also, because
Okay.
we did get weather and they had to at least plow a little space where that would cover them at no cost if you guys want to go with.
okay, we can take out the school cafeteria though.
And just put bus garage probably.
Yep. Okay, so this is the motion to approve, using the bus garage and parking lots and waiving any applicable food service space use, audiovisual technology service, and building and grounds fees, with a stipulation that the Lions Club assists and coordinates cleanup and accessibility due to use and/or inclement weather with the director of facilities and/or the food service director. We don't need the food service director.
Right.
Do I have a motion? Motion, Mrs. Mitchell, second, Mrs. Graves, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Just like saying Sarah's.
Okay, they do so many things for us, that's fantastic. Okay, we have a couple of public comments. One came in this afternoon, or well, just before noon time when we closed down for comments. And it was from Mr. Gibson, and we'll get some answers for him. CBS board minutes show that local school administrators knew they were going to accept ELC grant money this summer. As a condition of accepting that money, schools would comply with existing and/or future directives and guidance from the Secretary regarding control of the spread of COVID-19, and assist the United States government in the implementation and enforcement of federal orders related to quarantine and isolation. Why was the Peru community not notified that this grant money was going to be accepted and that school children would be forced to wear masks and comply with other ineffective and abusive COVID mitigation policies as a result of administrators agreeing to this? When was the board made aware of this, and who made the final decision? The board, Superintendent Palmer, or Scott Storrs? This all happened before Hochul's illegal mask mandate and is relevant for local accountability. Thank you, Alex Gibson. So we will find out more information, but this is really, we know it's through CBS grant, and that's the one that they're bringing nurses into the buildings, they're doing the COVID testing and pieces like that, but we'll try to get more information from Mr. Gibson. Okay, then we had another, parent that wanted to.
Yep, Jennifer Daniels, put in something as well. For most individuals, it's easier to share situations that have upset us. We forget to share the good things. Tonight, I would like to share some information about an employee who had made a huge difference in my child's school year. This individual has gone above and beyond the duties of their position to make my child feel welcome, heard, and supported. In all this craziness, I feel like my child is the #1 priority. And I want the board to know that Matt Berry is that school employee who I am referring to. My child is having a particularly tough year in and out of school, and Matt has been very proactive and supportive since I've notified him of the situation back in August. I also must give kudos to my children's teachers as well for they have been supportive and understanding. I've felt like our situation is the first thing that Matt thinks about when he arrives at work and is the last thing when he's ready to go home. My child is not an individual who likes to share feelings and thoughts with others. Matt has established such a strong rapport with my child that when a situation happens during school events, that on the way home, the first thing that was said, Mom, can you email Mr. Berry and let him know that I would like to meet with him tomorrow? And if he has the time, Matt not only met with my child and has made the situation much better, but also reaches out to me several times. Thank you, Matt, for all that you're doing for my child. And if you are doing this for my child, I'm 100% positive that you're doing it for others. Thank you for making Peru High School a comfortable and kind place to send our children. Thank you for going above and beyond the responsibilities of being a principal. Thank you for making Peru Pride a true mile.
Would you pour me that thing?
Actually, we're giving.
Just give it that.
Give that.
Thanks.
Thank you. We know that there's all little situations like that, but this one person wanted that said, and we know that there's a lot more people who would give us some positive comments like that, because we know that people are out there working for our students, because our core belief, students are our #1 priority. We also have to say the staff is too. Okay, at this point, we are going to go into an executive session, so, do I have a motion to go into executive session? We don't intend to, make any judgments or motions or anything during that executive session. So people, please feel free to go home, so that you're home before too late, before SUVs. No. But we have some things to discuss that our two board members who community participants in a very important cross-country race, and we will go into the executive session to have some discussion on that, and we'll see you in November. So, motion to go into executive session? Motion, Mrs. Gray. Second, Mrs. Morgan. All in favor? Aye. We'll go into executive session. So thank you, everyone.